All right, this is the last overview of a study guide. The final exam has 4 questions from the last 4 chapters you covered. The first question is from chapter 16. Choose and explain 2 of the 4 theories of social movements and provide an example to illustrate each theory. So, make sure that you don't just explain the 2 theories that you've chosen, but you also provide an example to illustrate each theory. Define the 2 types of social dilemmas and provide examples for each. Remember, the 2 types of social dilemmas are the tragedy of the commons and the tragedy of the commons and tragedy of public goods. I'm blanking right now, but you got it. There are the page numbers. Explain emergent norm and contagion theories. So remember, these are 2 theories that try to explain why people engage in behavior that they might not if they were on their own. So after you explain the 2 theories, then I want you to analyze the January 6th, 2021 event. I didn't want to call it anything else because I didn't want to make a judgment one way or the other. And apply both theories to this event. After you've applied both theories, then I ask which theory best explains the event and why. Okay, so that part, of course, just your opinion. Remember, you're explaining your statements. That's crucial here. The second question, I ask you to discuss in detail the 3 theories of population change and explain which best describes the current situation in the US and globally, right? Explain at least 3 of the environmental problems discussed in the textbook and discuss potential solutions for each of these problems. So explain the 3 environmental problems that you choose, and then at least 1 potential solution for each one. When you think about the future and that of children you might have, do you feel a sense of hope or anxiety about how well humans will deal with the climate crisis? And again, provide some background, some support for your answer here. I'm interested in knowing how you look at the future. I have far less of the future than you do, but I'm interested in knowing how you feel about it. Question 3 is from chapter 10. Explain how the 3 perspectives analyze education. Discuss how the authors of the textbook argue that inequality in education results in tracking and hidden curriculum. All right, so both of those things are discussed in the textbook in relation to the inequality that we see in education. And quickly going back to the 3 perspectives, remember that the functionalist perspective is looking at the positive functional things we get from education. Conflict theory, of course, is going to look at how power and resources and who controls those influences education or impacts education. And then finally, how the structural or the symbolic interactionist perspective analyzes education. What are some of the social, interpersonal aspects of education? Do you think these types of disparities occur throughout the educational system in the US, or do you think the problem is not as widespread as the authors claim? All right, there are some people who would say, the educational system isn't that bad in the US. It's far better than in many other countries. Everyone gets educated here. Everyone has the right. So it's not as bad as in some other places. So what's your thought? Give examples to support your opinion. Based on the job section of the textbook, explain your answer to the question, is a college degree worth it? Support your answer with details. Finally, question 4 is from chapter 12. Explain the 4 perspectives on marriage and family. And remember, there are always the 3, functionalist, conflict, and symbolic interactionist. But in this chapter, there is a fourth, and that is feminist theory. So when you explain these four perspectives, again, make sure that you're giving the details and the examples to support your statements. Discuss the four relationship trends in the text. Okay, so what are those four trends? That's all I'm asking there. Analyze the extent to which gender and sexuality influence the division of labor in families. Okay, so we know that things have to get done in the house. Dishes have to be washed, laundry has to be done, somebody's got to go out and do the shopping, etc. So how does gender and sexuality influence the way these tasks are divided up in families? Read the information in the box on page 358. Consider that CRISPR technology enables gene editing, right? That would mean then, of course, that if gene editing gets really, really good, at some point, it may be possible in the future that expectant parents will be able to create designer babies. That is, they could go to a gene editing company and say, we want to make sure our child has blonde hair, blue eyes, is a boy, is 6'10", and is good at piano and math. You get the idea. Should this be allowed if you can afford this type of gene editing? You know, many people have money and they might want to, get it right on the first try, whatever getting it right means for them. Are there ethical or moral issues with this practice? I'm asking you for your opinion. Please provide some support for your opinion, some reasons why you think what you do. And that is it. As usual, if you study, make an outline, at the very least, you should do okay.